Hello, YouTube. This is the Galley La Podcast, and today we are going to be reviewing Chapter 1052, A New Morning. And we are starting off with Germa 66's Cold-Blooded Voyage, where we have Caesar Clown hiding. This trash bag still can't make it off of Whole Cake Island, it seems.
Honestly, I had completely forgotten about Caesar even being on Whole Cake.
So, he started flying after the chateau got taken down. That's when he was freed, basically. And he still has been trapped. One thought I kind of basically had with this is, I'm wondering if Oda is going to reunite Mads by the end of the story. Because obviously Judge is going to be here with Caesar. And so they'll, like, reconnect. And then, which means... And one thing I did find interesting is that Queen was the only pirate that was knocked off of Onigashima, which means maybe he's separated from the rest of the Beast Pirates, and he might reunite with the rest of Mads one day.
Yeah, well, who knows what's happening with anyone anymore in Wano.
Yeah, well, I just kind of think it's interesting how we were introduced to Mads, and two of its members are reunited right now. And we're probably going to see the rest of Germa later, and obviously the Straw Hats are going to meet up with Vegapunk later. So I'm wondering if Oda is setting up the foundation for that. So I'm curious to see what happens from here on out with that.
Yeah.
Anything else want to add on that?
Not really, just the fact that I kind of assumed that Caesar got away by himself, but it's good that Oda's reincorporating him, like tying up the plot thread.
Yeah.
Do you think that it was Caesar who set fire to the lab, or?
I don't think so. I think he would have already taken off and everything. Maybe the only reason why he stayed around is for the giant, basically the giant formula and everything like that. That's the reason why the Big Mom Pirates have kept him alive, basically. But that's probably not going to happen for a lot of different reasons. But yeah.
We'll get into that.
The Big L Pirates. But we start this chapter off with Mary Joa. And they are saying Nika has finally emerged. And one thing I have noticed is Oda still hasn't explained why the Gorosei haven't, like, throw basically the issue, like, how come they've known about Nika this whole time and haven't thrown the whole world government at Luffy, basically. So they still haven't provided that explanation, but they've also noticed 2 emperors have fallen, and that the particular timing is bad, which I kind of find interesting too. So maybe they took some heavy losses fighting the warlords, or maybe it's the fact that the warlords are gone. But those are kind of my first instincts.
Well, I think that the whole power system is now all out of whack, but I'm wondering why they're concerned, because it seems to be scaled in their favor, because it was like the 3 big powers were the warlords, the navy, and the Yonko. And the Yonko are cut in half now. And the warlords are supposedly replaced with whatever the SSG is planning. So it seems like the government is has all the power right now compared to the other factions.
I think there's an element where they don't like chaos too. They like order and everything. And stability, because kind of after they killed Whitebeard, the world really started falling apart. Now the idea of 2 emperors going down is kind of interesting. And they were also planning on taking over Wano, and they didn't get that opportunity because of the border staying up still. So their plans have and then they weren't able to get Nico Robin, and Nika has been activated too. So there have been some negatives in their plan too, though.
That's true. But so I was kind of confused. Maybe I was missing something, but why couldn't the Navy go in and kind of establish themselves in Wano right now because everyone's weakened and they were already on their way there. And I brought up the chapter that said, we have orders from above on the freak chance that Kaido actually loses. The nation of Wano, unaffiliated with the world government, will be placed under the government's direct control. The ships are heading to Wano already. Does this seem possible to you? He's talking to CP0 Scarf Guy. But, yeah, they seemed all set to go. Maybe they thought that that both sides were going to take each other out and then they would be able to swoop in. But because they had their way in already, because that's how the CP0 agents got in.
Well, I think their way in, though, was Onigashima going through the back that way. But obviously Onigashima has been moved. And I don't think that entrance exists anymore.
Maybe. I'll have to re-look that up. Wano deserves a reread at this point now that it's basically done.
Right, and then you have, I assume that's Green Bull saying, listen up, stay where you are, bzz, bzz, I'm on my way.
Yes.
So, I don't, let's just maybe talk about this part right now. I'm concerned with the rushing, because there was a lot of rushing, and we'll continue to point that out, the other parts in this chapter, but I'm concerned Oda's just going to introduce Green Bull, and then he's going to get defeated by Luffy because of the way things have been rushed, basically. And I'm afraid that's what's going to happen right now. Because Zoro was awake, seemingly fine, which is trash, because the pill is trash. The pill was trash in itself, even if he got a bad injury. But now it's further trash because he seems relatively okay. It's just like a normal, I'm going to get back up after I'm tired from an arc. You know, just like any other old arc. So that's part of the reason why that's bad. But yeah, sorry, go.
Oh, he had more lasting effects from the Kuma thing. That were longer lasting than this pill. I mean, we haven't necessarily seen him exert himself, and it might kick in then, but I don't know. I'll just say that the pill, the miracle pill, was just a bad call on that.
Yeah, Oda just kind of got greedy. It's like he could have just been like, he fights Zoro, gets taken out by Kaido, or he doesn't fight Kaido at all, and then he just fights King. You know? And then he had to bring in the pill, and he just kind of got greedy with it. Or he just wanted to keep things normal. Like Zoro always fights the right-hand man, but he wants him to fight the main baddie too. And I think he kind of sacrificed the quality of the story to accomplish that. You know? But... So do you think that Green Bull would be taken... Okay, so one, do you think Green Bull's going to attack? And two, do you think he'll be taken down if he's attacked?
So, I think... I don't think he's going to be taken down that easily because of just how much the admirals are built up over the series. Because we've had Aokiji defeating Luffy and Kizaru just destroying everybody at Sabaody. They've had good first showings for all of them, Fujitora and Dressrosa. I don't see why, especially because Green Bull had this air of mystery around him before he was introduced fully. I think that Oda wouldn't sacrifice his character like that.
As like a hype tool, basically.
Yeah, and I did see someone was discussing that, Oda's going to be taking a month-long break to plan out the final saga. And I think the person pointed out that it would be a good idea for this so that this kind of rushed ending doesn't happen. Or rushed plot points at all. Because, I mean, the way we left off with this chapter, I know we're skipping ahead a little bit, but it starts with Green Bull arriving at Wano, and he's not going to get wrapped up by the end of the next chapter.
Right. Yeah, good point. Yeah.
So,
you think he's just going to be like an impetus for them to run away and everything?
Maybe.
I mean, kind of like the Ohokuji Garp thing at the end of Water 7, for example.
Yeah.
Kind of like that element.
Yeah, that might be it too. But I think that like a fresh admiral compared to everyone else, I think that would be cause for concerns. But
yeah, one thought I did have though is like Luffy still hasn't shown any negative side effects at all from Gear 5 also.
Yeah. And yeah, we thought that was going to be the case, but I don't know.
I mean, Oda could still be like the admirals attacking, Luffy and Zoro try to do it, and their hockey's both depleted or something like that. But then the hockey being depleted for Luffy, that was just like a Gear 4 type,
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like repeating that same drawback, which is kind of dumb. But so I'm curious, like, is he just dropping the ball on that? That's what I mean. The rushing kind of scares me. Because, like, if Zoro and Luffy experience significant drawbacks, that extends the story more, which I'm afraid he's not going to be allowed to do. Because he's, like, in this rush mode, which is kind of terrifying me a little bit. Put in that perspective.
Yeah. But I mean, we'll get to that point. There's more stuff to discuss in order, but... What do you think about the CP0 agent lying that he had Nico Robin?
He doesn't want to die.
Yeah, I mean, everyone else has been wiped out. He's the only one left.
He's the only one left, and I assume there has to be other heavy hitters on those ships because the world government's just not that stupid.
Oh yeah, that was the other thing. So I'm not sure if it's just because of the way the panels were, but I don't think that Lucci and Kaku and Stussy are on those ships anymore, because we would have seen them when the CP0 agent came back. I've heard the theory or that they're still at Marijua, and that's where they were when we saw them initially. But just the way that it was framed, it looked like they were on those ships because they were talking about the ships that were heading their way. So I don't know if Oda, if that'll be clarified in the anime more. But yeah, there's also the issue with Zunisha just straight up leaving. Like, what? I mean, what was the point of him even coming?
I think it was a way to hype up Luffy with the Joy Boy stuff. Like, oh, it's Joy Boy, you know? I think he was just a hype tool, really.
Yeah, but that's not very good writing. Just to have someone just appear to... it reminds me at the end of Bleach, where like the fathers of two of the main characters who are really powerful just show up at the end of the series, give one of them a literal plot arrow that negates like this god's power, and then pieces out. It's like, that's not good writing that they just leave after that.
Right.
But
right.
But yeah, I was kind of disappointed with Zunisha. I thought Zunisha was gonna like stay at Wano, but like, I guess there's more for Zunisha to do. But do you have any more thoughts about that?
Well, maybe if Zunisha's separated from Wano, it gives Blackbeard an opportunity to pick up that poneglyph.
That's true.
Because if Zunisha stayed in Wano, then they wouldn't have as much as the opportunity. But Kind of going on to the next panel. Is Hawkins dead?
I think that Hawkins is dead.
Okay.
That's what I think.
Heavy death chapter.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that too. But so how do you think that this Hawkins? How do you think his prediction played into this? Because we were like debating about this whole 1% person for the whole time, and he saw in his cards that Kaido was going to lose, but he didn't want to leave his side because no one would accept him back. I don't think that's a good enough excuse, personally. I would see him because I don't know, honor just doesn't really seem to be his type of thing, because he uses his own men as sacrifices for his powers.
Yeah. Well, I think it's more pride, rather than honor. Just this idea, just like, I can't admit that I did something wrong in a way. The humility. And I think Kid actually had that humility, where he's able to swallow his pride on 2 different occasions, but Hawkins didn't, in a way. So I think that's kind of an interesting way to look at his character. I mean, I think there's something admirable in some sense that he wasn't going to leave, but, he did it anyways. So, I mean, he stayed anyway, sorry. And he had knowledge of Drake, being a Marine towards the end. And, it does kind of look like he's dead, basically, at this point. It was kind of interesting because the anime did make it seem like Drake was the one who was going to have the 1% chance of living. But, yeah, it's kind of scary now because Oda's killing off people, and we've just been so habituated to be skeptical of deaths in One Piece. And he just kind of went on a little death spree this chapter.
Yeah. Well, you think that that Drake is fine, though?
Fine. I'll say, man, the CP0 agents actually got a kill in,
Well,
Yeah. I'm sorry. I was like, it won't jump in the head, but like also, and then Killer got it a kill too. So.
Yeah. Finally living up to his name.
Yeah, exactly, right. So, I don't know. I thought it was, this is more a respectful way for him to go out than like the others.
Yeah.
I guess I'll say that much,
We got something.
And I enjoyed his role overall in Wanted, though. I actually thought he was a really good character.
Yeah. Yeah, I just didn't think that it was as consistent with his character, but that's just me. But
Gotcha.
I liked the way that you related that back to Kid's character, though.
Yeah, and then we basically, we just see the classroom and they're just talking about Odin and everything and the story of Joy Boy.
Yeah, well,
one point. Oh, sorry, go.
Well, I was just gonna say that. Who do you think leaked said it was Joy Boy? Because that's like not a well-known thing.
Yeah. I guess that would have to be Yamato or Momo.
To like discredit Luffy, or because if they relate Joy Boy back to Luffy, then I don't know, like for the government side of things, but because they would obviously know about Joy Boy because they know the true history, and he's a big part of the true history.
But I think they'd be okay telling the population about it because it just kind of goes more with the lore of Odin. You have to talk about Joy Boy to talk about Odin and the fullness of it, So I think that's part of the reason why they talked. But one note I did want to get across, there isn't a statue of Usopp or like any recording of Usopp in this chapter, which I kind of think is interesting. Because thinking back to Dressrosa, how he had his own statue. And usually he has like a tale about him in every arc, roughly, you know?
Yeah.
Whether it's like Soga King, Dressrosa, you know?
Yeah.
But this was not the case in this arc. You know, he didn't really do anything.
Yeah. I mean, we only see him like fixing up the General Frankie at the end.
Yeah, and so I would have you know, with the samurai connection, I thought like he would be like, you know, Usopp, the strong samurai, but that didn't happen this chapter. Oda, and again, maybe we could talk about this more towards the end. It just felt like he rushed it, and Usopp really got shafted in this whole thing. You know?
Well, you want to talk about getting shafted? There's the next scene.
Yep.
with Kawamatsu and Kinemon at the shrine, with the graves, and we just get the confirmation that Ashura and Izo are both dead. Okay, I kind of accepted it with Ashura because I reread his part with his ending, and I can kind of accept that. But Izo just kind of got nothing with his character, like his final part. Like it shows him interacting, like CP0 find him, and he's like, "You're not going anywhere." And then the next we see him is he's just saying, "Just survive, Kiku," and then he takes out Maha at the same time. And that's it for Izo. There's not even like a reaction, an acknowledgement from Kiku. Like
it's like for both of them, there was no acknowledgement. Like no moment of mourning, even like last chapter, which I kind of thought was incredibly dick of Momo to do when you think about it, because like these people have been giving their lives for you this whole time, and you couldn't even give one moment of silence, you know, for them. Yeah, like you'd be dead without them, and that's kind of trash. You know?
I mean, at least have Izo be at the shrine with Kinemon and Kawamatsu and Marco. Marco showed more of a more respect to Izo than Izo's own brother.
Yeah, exactly. And so like, okay, so we have that. I mean, I kind of liked the exchange with CP0 at the end, but it wasn't sad when Izo died, basically, you know? And it didn't hit us back then, like, wow, they just died, because we're so skeptical of everything. But if it was like a crying moment, like, no, you're gonna die, please don't leave me, I think we'd been more inclined to believe, yeah, they're dead. And I'm, like, sad about it now. And this is kind of one of my issues. I was talking about this last chapter with how we evaluate the war. Ashura Doji should have been taken out by like a commander of Kaido, or you know, instead of him just like sacrificing himself, because one, it hypes up the commander, you know, and it would actually be like a W for Kaido's army, and they didn't get one W for the whole fucking war, you know.
Yeah.
Well, CP0 was the only one that claimed someone throughout the entire war.
I mean, imagine if like Ashura wound up fighting like King or something.
Yeah.
And and because we saw Ashura like square off against Jack, and they were just that powerful to cut through Jack's sword and his body. And if we see like King just take out Ashura Doji and be like, oh my gosh, like Zoro has to, it kind of hypes up Zoro more.
Right.
But I mean, in rereading his part, I was kind of satisfied with it because he sacrificed himself protecting everyone from Kanjuro, because he did the fake Odin thing. And I guess we can confirm that Kanjuro's dead too.
Sure, why not? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess Orochi too.
Yeah.
So I guess, wouldn't it have been better if he killed more of the Scabbards off too? But I guess like my issue with the Calamities, their only hype was the title of Calamity. We never saw them do anything impressive. So if they actually like killed the scabbards, you know, or even the Yakuza crime bosses, like it would have upped up their game basically. They wouldn't be like, wow, they're like cool, like they're actually took someone out, you know. But they didn't do that, you know. And since it wasn't as believable, like I said, the Ashura Doji part didn't hit because like, okay, that's just a bunch of dynamite.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and I'm still upset that. I mean, honestly, he didn't have the will of P, because Pell survived a bigger explosion than that. And Pell is significantly weaker.
Right. Well, Pound took a hit from Oven point blank, too. So
yeah. It's the will of P. He's not Pashura Doji.
And I don't know. It was a cool scene with Marco and Kinemon. I think Kinemon should have at least showed some tears, though. It didn't feel like a sad morning scene. It's like, all right, those trash cans are gone, you know? Like,
yeah.
Well,
it was kind of like, well, I have to kill off someone. I guess we'll do this. Also, It's been like 7 days that we skipped ahead with all this. So
yeah, like I said, it's still because Mom was like, yeah, I'm Shogun now.
Yeah.
See ya, Ashura Doji. You know, like the guy we were trying to convince to fight this whole war, and then like he dies and we don't even care after convincing him to fight this whole time. But anyways, I'm trying not to be too negative. And then we see Yamato fasting, which I think is an interesting parallel to Green Bull, because Green Bull's been fasting for 3 years. And then does it specify how long she's been fasting for?
I mean, like 7 days. It was supposed to be until Luffy and Zoro woke up.
Yeah. Okay.
So 7 days, but it kind of it calls back to her flashback when she was in the cave.
Yeah, so yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, they wake up, and I've already critiqued them just waking up. Yeah, so Chopper's on Zoro, Yamato's on Luffy, and they don't recognize him because he's Momo's adult form. And
I'm glad that this next scene with Nami, I'm just glad that Nami's over it, because personally, I just hated that gag. Because I don't know, I'm fine with like Sanji and Brooks gags because they're not like malicious, but like Momo was just a little shit.
I do like the look on Brook and Momo though. I mean, sorry, Brook and Sanji.
Yeah,
that was actually a genuinely funny panel there. Yeah. So that was good to see that. And then aside from that, we just were given more insight about the vigil and things like that too, for the healing of Sanji and Zoro, and you get a funny scene with Sanji getting pissed off with Zoro and his new girl, and I don't know, maybe we could throw this in the rush category or what, but Oda does remember the put me down if I change.
Yeah.
And I remember at the time with Zoro Sanji, and saying like, put me down. There was just so many theories like, whoa, Oda's like definitely not gonna like just throw this away. This is gonna be like a huge plot point, and nothing. It's turning into a gag. Like, I'm kind of okay with it just turning into a gag though, because there's no reason for it to continue. And I thought the scene was good in itself at the time. But I guess it's just kind of another example of people's expectations and theories falling short, compared to what happened with it. I like how it resolved, though, but what do you think?
Yeah, me too. It kind of shows that Sanji, like, putting aside his pride and actually relying on Zoro for something. And even though they don't necessarily agree with each other all the time. And it showed that he could overcome like this the engineering by himself, or the response to his genes. But the little fight between them, that was the highlight of the chapter for me. I just thought that was really funny.
Yeah.
It's good to see the Straw Hats interacting with each other again.
Right. And I hope we get a lot more of that as time goes on, for sure.
Yeah, I also want to shout out Yamato putting the plate on Momo's head to make him look like Odin.
Yeah,
I thought that was funny.
Yeah, no, I like that too. That was pretty good. Yeah, and then you get kind of the bath scene basically, and then just standard for the core, and then So and then they're having the big banquet. We see Usopp and Frankie, repairing everything. It was kind of interesting how Frankie and Usopp and Robin and Jinbei weren't in the bath scene though.
Jinbei's there.
Oh, he is. Okay.
Jinbei's there, but yeah, I was going to point this out at the end, but we don't see Robin this whole time, and I think that's because we also don't see Denjiro, and I think that it's because Denjiro knew a lot about because he worked with Orochi. He knew about a lot about Orochi's inner workings, so he probably knows where the poneglyph is. And I think that's where Robin's at this point. And I think we'll be seeing that next chapter.
Yeah, and he would be the one to know, definitely, out of all the others.
Yeah.
We get an amazing Beppo panel. That's so cool.
Yeah.
And I'm glad.
I don't know. I kind of wish that the Frankie Shogun remained broken, or like Frankie improved it to a new one instead of just fixing it, because that was the first time that we saw it actually take like significant damage. But it's a little tangent, but I don't like the Frankie Shogun as the main thing with Frankie now. His way of fighting. I like him during Dressrosa. I like that part of it, where he was just fighting with Senor Pink.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe we'll see less of it in the future, but I don't know.
Yeah, and then basically we get the Kid Pirates, and hopefully it's setting up some type of an actual rivalry later on. Don't trust these guys, don't get too buddy-buddy. And Law's kind of speculating about what the government's response is going to be, and Beppo's super hyped about that idea. And the Apu thing's a little weird, because I feel like Kid would just kill him immediately. Yeah. Like, I don't see any reason why he wouldn't. Because Apu's done nothing to get in his good favor,
Exactly. Because, I mean, he's the whole reason that Killer ate the smile fruit and everything. And yeah, the first time he saw Apu on Onigashima, he went straight after him. Yeah. So,
and it risked like them giving away their stealth position too.
Yeah.
To get Kaido, right? Maybe you could say the only reason he's not attacking him is because the newspaper he's really interested in. Like he just wants to know, like, oh, am I an emperor of the sea now? And a lot of indications that he's going to be. So I assume it's going to be Law, Kid, Luffy, and Shanks and Blackbeard. Since there's 5 last time, I think there's going to be 5 this time.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it'll be interesting because Apu says that it's the updated bounties and the names of the new emperors of the sea, the newly dubbed emperors. So I think Luffy was already proclaimed one of the emperors, basically. So I think we're looking at 2 people to replace Big Mom and Kaido. But I think we've talked about this in the past, about I don't know if it's necessarily going to be Kid and Law, just because of influence and just like
territory
and manpower. Because Luffy has all of that. Whereas, like, Kid and Law really don't, because Law's kind of been in the shadow of Luffy this whole time. With
Kid might have territory.
Yeah, but then would that have gotten taken over by by Kaido if he beat him.
Oh, well, I kind of think like Fishman was still kind of Luffy's territory, even though Luffy got defeated at one point too. You know.
Yeah. Do you think
so
that
it's possible?
Yeah. Do you think that Wano's going to be Luffy's territory now, or at least it's definitely going to be an alliance, but.
Yeah, I could see that. Or the only thing I would hold you back is like the pride of Wano kind of prevents them from being under anyone's territory, you know. But we'll see. It might undercut Momo a little bit. I am excited to see the bounties.
Yeah.
Gonna be controversial.
Yeah. Okay. So, do you have any like guesses about what it's gonna be? Do you think Luffy's gonna break 3 billion?
I think he's still gonna be under Blackbeard and Shanks because I feel like we're gonna get like an info dump regarding those two. At the very, I know Blackbeard's gonna skyrocket quite a bit if I had to guess, because he just goes up whenever Luffy goes up. That's just how it works. I could see Sanji and Zoro both over 1 billion. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, aside from that, I don't have too many like specific numbers, I'd say.
Yeah. I would say Luffy might. I don't think he's going to reach 4, but I think he might be between 3 and 4 billion at this point, because 4 billion was like Kaido and Big Mom's area.
Yeah. Yeah. So no. Yeah, I think that's all right there, and I guess it looks like Kaido and Big Mom are in fact gone.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say something really quick about that too. I saw a couple things that it's like, oh, they got blown out when the volcano erupted, or they're still in the lava thing, they found a way out or something, and it's gonna be a cover story. Or could you imagine the Yonko being reduced to a cover story?
That'd be horrendous. Oh man.
But yeah, I don't. It still feels weird if they're definitively gone, because we still haven't seen. Did Marco just straight up kill all the other Big Mom pirates that came?
It's possible.
Like,
possible. Wait, where are they imprisoning all these people? All the Kaido pirates and Perospero?
Is Perospero dead?
He might be. I don't know, but like,
I mean,
where are they putting all these people?
Didn't they? Well, at least to the ones who were still alive. I think Yamato last chapter said like to join us or be taken out or something.
There's like 60,000 of them though. I mean like King and Queen and all the others, like. No.
Well, they have Sea Prism Stone, so they could theoretically just keep them in handcuffs.
Yeah, no, it's weird.
Yeah.
To think about.
Don't think too hard about it.
Yeah.
But
it's just yeah.
Yeah. Any other thoughts? Because I have a couple predictions for next chapter.
You can shoot with the predictions.
So I think we're going to see Robin with the Poneglyph. We're definitely going to see the bounties. I think we're going to get the face reveal of Green Bull.
Okay.
And that's going to be the cliffhanger, because I think next week's the last chapter before the month-long break.
Yes.
And I think we're going to be on the cliffhanger of Green Bull arriving at Wano.
Yeah.
Because really quick, he seems to just have like a plant ability. Maybe he has a plant like Logia, because I think when he first appeared he said he hadn't eaten in years. So it could be like photosynthesis or something.
Yeah, and he was in the shade too, if I remember correctly, when they introduced him.
Yeah.
I hope that makes him like really powerful, because he has such a goofy looking power.
Yeah.
You know, because like Oda likes to really up the people who are goofy as like being powerhouses. So, yeah, well, I have hopes for him. Like I said, I hope they just don't use him as a hype tool. and things like that. But I'm curious to see what they do with them. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I think that's all I have to say.
Yeah, no, that's it for me. But we'll see you all next week for the Grand Slam and Tawano next week. And like the video if you like the video, subscribe, and we'll talk to you all later. Peace.
See ya.